when you watch your bullpen come in, you just have to take a big old chug of what you're drinking. And that's what you can do while you're watching tonight's Locked On Astros podcast, which starts now.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
All right, we are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. Your team every day, and we are talking about the Houston Astros. And unfortunately, the first two games of the series were no bueno. It was not good, and it just seemed like every time the Astros went in extra innings, it was just not good. But you can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. And Brett, where can they find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All righty, so we got a lot to talk about on this special edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. This is going to be a short show. We're going to have a special preview edition looking at the Red Sox series. Gabrielle Starr of the Locked On Red Sox podcast is going to join us a little bit. We're going to cut this stream and go on to the other stream in a little bit. So we just want to talk about the disaster that was the first two games of this series. And Brett, we're having a little trouble with, there it is. But thank gosh for Zack Greinke in today's game. And I really wanted Dusty Baker to just say, no, do not take Zack Greinke out of this game. Leave him in. He's doing great. I don't care if he throws a million pitches. Do not take Zack Greinke out of this game. And what happens? Andre Scrub comes in and gives up 3 runs. And it was just like, I did the whole, okay, here comes the Astros bullpen and the baby running around the corner and then, oops, and then running back out. And it's just like, no, here we go again. Here we go again. Let's close our eyes or something. But
our bullpen is very suspect lately. And Zack Greinke coming in, I really wish that he would have gone the complete game. But at 104 pitches, I get it. Andre Scrub made it interesting in the 9th inning. I think there was a pitch with the last batter that should have been called a strike. They called it a ball. It was a knuckle curve that was, I think, the 3rd ball, should have been the 3rd strike. But they only gave up 3 in the 9th. That is, that'll make you drink, right? Like someone said, what kind of lead do we need to feel comfortable with the Astros? And I put my Dr. Evil up there, and I was like 1 billion to 1, because the Padres are an absolute no-quit team. I was there Saturday watching the game with one of our fans, and I just have to say this, Eric. I do not mind watching Fernando Tatis Jr. hit home runs. Now, I hate when he's hitting it against us, but that kid can absolutely mash. But this bullpen will give you cardiac arrest in a second. I mean, just when you think like 100% probability to win a game and you lose it. And it's just like, oh my gosh, the woes have really hit us hard. And it makes you wonder how they're going to perform this next series. But focus on today. Greinke, phenomenal. Saved the bullpen. So does he get a save for that? I would give him let's give him a save unofficially for saving the bullpen today.
You can't save your own win, Brett. Come on.
No, but you can save the bull. I think the way the bullpen's been pitching, that's technically a save.
Okay.
Anyways. Hey, Rob Manfred put a guy on second. I can't make that a save.
No, you can't. So the Astros bullpen has now allowed a homer in 4 consecutive games and in 7 of the last 9. And the Astros bullpen in the Padres series. You ready? Get your drink ready. In the 3 games, they've in 14 2/3 innings, they've allowed 22 runs. 14 of those were earned, 22 hits, 5 home runs, 10 walks, 8.59 ERA, a 1.067 opponent OPS.
Now, you didn't tell me to bring
That's
a keg to the show. You didn't tell me to bring a keg. You just told me to bring one beer. I should have brought at least a 12-pack. Good Lord. Yeah, that will lead anyone to drink. And, that's the thing. And I mean, look, I'm critical of Dusty. I don't trust him as a bullpen manager. I just don't. Okay. But regardless of his history, it's not like he's got a whole lot of people to go to. They're like, let's put in. Oh wait, let's put it. Oh no, and it's been a catch-22. You darn if you do, and you darn if I don't. But something I do like, Eric. Something I do like. Framber Valdez and Christian Javier. I like that 1-2 punch. That's a powerful ticket. That's like Tyson and Holyfield on the same team. I love that. I freaking love that, dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we saw that Odorizzi came in and he pitched 6 great innings, and he looked really good. And Framber Valdez, he pitched, I believe, 4 innings. I don't have the stats in front of me. Maybe he didn't go 4 innings, but overall, it was a good appearance considering he hasn't really pitched in Major League Baseball this year. So this was his first appearance.
Good. He did look good. Him and Framber both. That was because I was nervous. Yu Darvish, Jake Odorizzi. I mean, Yu Darvish has been nails this year, and he wasn't against us. But unfortunately, the bullpen happened.
Yeah, and so if you look at, I'm trying to pull up that game, but the Saturday's game as well. I know you. We want to talk about this win, but I do want to talk about that game on. I misspoke. Odorizzi didn't pitch 6. I thought he pitched 6 innings, but it was 5 1/3 innings. He pitched into the 6th inning. He only allowed 3 hits. It was 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and he did not allow a Crawford box home run. This was a start where he did not allow a home run.
That's what I was worried about, because he said, I don't know how to pitch in Minute Maid Park. Yeah, exactly. So no, that's really good. Good for him. And with all the criticism that we may give the guys, it's not that we don't want them to do well. We're just trying to be realist. We're trying to be realistic. We're trying not to be, dude, I'm trying not to be a homer. It's really hard for me to, that, you always call me on it, but I mean, hey, when they do good, and dude, Chas McCormick, we need to talk about Chas McCormick hitting the 2 spot, because I was like, what the hell are you doing putting him in the 2 spot? And he showed up, dude. He freaking showed up, and he's done a hell of a job in the 2 spot.
Right. And we're definitely going to talk a little bit about the series coming up, but we're going to do that more in the preview edition in the next one, World Traveler. But let's go and talk a little bit about Sports Trade.
Yeah, Sports Trade. This is awesome. Y'all need to listen to this, because it's where fantasy sports meets the stock market. And this is amazing. Sports Trade takes fantasy to the next level. It's like Robinhood fantasy for sports. Making money with Sports Trade is simple, as players' values rise and fall based on 2 factors. 1, their statistical performance in each game as compared to their projected fantasy points in that game. And 2, the good old supply and demand. The more demand a player has, the higher their value goes. So if you had someone like Tatis Jr., his value went up. If you had Kyle Tucker today, King Tuck, his value went up with his 3-run homer. So when you're ready to buy shares, pick a penny stock in a rookie who has huge upside, or grab the blue chip vet who's always a solid performer, instantly buy and sell as many shares in as many players as you like. Or heck, pick some of the Tigers who just got through sweeping the Yankees. That's amazing. Good job, AJ Hinch. Simply go to sportstrade.com, watch the How It Works video to sign up to get started today. Sign up today at sportstrade.com and discover the fun and exciting and profitable new world of sports trading. This is truly the evolution of fantasy sports. You'll be amazed. Don't sit on the sidelines any longer. Get in the game at sportstrade.com.
Speaking of not staying on sidelines, what about the locker room?
Locker room is simply changing the way we talk about sports. Not just talk about sports, but talk to other fans about sports. I mean, how many times have you been online with someone like a fellow fan who may be in Utah or Delaware or California? You're like, man, I wish we could like hang out sometime, but that's not realistic. Well, download the Locker Room app today and when we have a room, when you see Look for Eric at Eric Heisman. Look for me at H-Town Wheelhouse. We usually go live on a Friday or Saturday game where you can join us, join the conversation. Locker Room is a perfect place to start and join conversations about any sports. You'll find fans that like your team, the Astros, or your team, the Texans, or your team, the Rockets, or the Dash, or the Dynamo, or whoever it is you watch. It could be the SaberCats of Sugarland, the rugby team. So go download the free Locker Room app now, currently available on the iOS device. Any league you want, check them out. Go follow us. We do a great job of featuring you, and what we do is we turn it into a podcast, and you get to be featured, your voice heard on our podcast, which is heard around the world. That's right, Locker Room. The way we talk about sports has changed today.
All righty. So I know World Traveler said our starters did great. And so I was correct about Framber Valdez. He did go 4 innings in that start. And then Christian Javier came in and kind of acted as the piggyback starter and went another 4 innings. And I know that he threw 52 pitches, and there was discussion about leaving him in for the 9th inning. But then they brought in Ryan Presley, and he did a good job in that game. And then Stanek came in. He gave up the run. I hate that freaking runner at second base rule.
Yeah.
And then Brooks Raley, we've been kind of singing his praises. Oh, yeah, Brooks Raley has been the reliable reliever in the bullpen. What does he do? He kind of gives up that big hit in that game, and unfortunately, the Astros lost Game 1. And then Brandon Bielak gave up another 3 runs in the next inning. But the Astros, that was another one of those kind of embarrassing losses. And then the next day, that was the most embarrassing one, especially when you have the opportunity to get Fernando Tatis out. He pops up, and then Taylor Jones has a chance to catch it, and he falls down. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to catch it. Then what happens? What always happens when you give somebody like that another chance? He hits the 3-run homer to tie the game up.
He is everything that a young Albert Pujols was to this Astros team. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I know we don't have the opportunity, and thank God we don't play the Padres in our division, or he would be an Astros killer. But that kid is absolutely not afraid to swing the bat, and he's really good. And, for his defensive yips that he's had this year, he did not look bad defensively this series. He's got range. I mean, he's got swag. I mean, there's a reason why San Diego has 34 wins on the season. But Eric, when you look at that game 2, we had them 7-1. We had these guys. They scored 10 of their 11 runs from the 8th inning on. 8 through 12 innings, they scored 10 runs. That is one of the biggest meltdowns of the regular season that I've ever seen.
And I'm not going to yes, Ralph Garza Jr. gave up the 3 runs in the whatever inning that was that the 12th inning? Yes, he gave up those 3 runs. That was his major league debut.
That was a bad spot to put him in.
Yes, this was a bad situation, and poor kid, his major league debut, he was just an arm. He was just a fresh body. He was just a warm body to get out there. And unfortunately, he was just kind of thrown in that situation. And
well, it's like I said, in my criticism towards Dusty Baker, let me make this disclaimer just to make sure nobody's heard this, because I feel like some people haven't. Like, I'm not saying this because I feel like I could do a better job. And of course, hindsight's always 20/20, but I'm an armchair quarterback the situation. You don't put a rookie in that situation. You put him in earlier.
Didn't have anybody else, really.
Well, I understand that, but you use him later so you have somebody else that's not him available, because you could have used somebody else. Now, would it have changed it? Would it have gone differently? They still scored all those runs. Someone's like, well, it's on the offense. No, the offense scored 8 runs. You're supposed to win games when you score 8 runs. This is solely on the relief pitching. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's a psyche thing. I don't know what it is, but something's got to change, and it's only those individual guys can make those adjustments on their own. I can be critical of Dusty's moves because I haven't agreed with all of them, but at the same time, even if it's a bad move baseball-wise, they still got to perform. That's what they're paid to do, right?
Yeah, Joe Smith was not good on Saturday. Ryan Presley, I mean, granted, it was that Taylor Jones miscatch that led to the 3-run homer, but don't let the other runners on base, and then you won't be having that situation. But let's go and take a look at today's game. Today's game was a little bit more on the positive side, and the Astros really had control from the get-go. And I know that they scored, how many runs was in first inning? They scored 4 runs.
They scored 4 runs in the first inning. Yes, sir.
Right, and McCormick has batted twice, 2 games in a row, batting second. So, I mean, that's by necessity. Basically, Gurriel is unavailable. Michael Brantley, we haven't even talked about that. Michael Brantley's was put on the IL, and then you have Alvarez out of the lineup. So the Astros have been playing with basically the AAA Skeeters with basically Altuve, Bregman, Correa, and Tucker. And I guess Aledmys Diaz, we'll put him up there because I still consider Straw part of the AAA Skeeters. But he's been he had a big hit the other day too. So
here's the thing: when you have this lineup, you would think, okay, this is the game they're going to lose because they've got a lot of key guys out, and they won it. And they put up that 4 spot early. But it was on Greinke. It was on Greinke to come out and perform. And Eric Greinke has started to really find his stuff.
Right.
He has been solid. The problem is, Eric, as solid as he's been, there's not another starter that has matched his solid performances. We've had a couple here or there. We have to get at least one of our starters because I'm just going to say this right now. This team will not make the playoffs playing the way they're playing right now. We are out of the wild card right now. I know it's May. I get that. Don't scoreboard watch all the whatever baseball lingo people use. But we will not make the playoffs, not even get the wild card if we don't get our bullpen issues fixed. This lineup has the ability to win games, but you can't win games if your pitching is so unreliable.
Yeah, I saw this from a guy on Twitter, Landon. I'm trying to get him on Twitter. I mean, on the show pretty soon. But since Greinke had that little rough patch, he in his last 4 starts, he has 29 innings pitched, 2.79 ERA, a 3.02 FIP, 0.86 WHIP, 22 strikeouts, only 5 walks, and the league's only batting 196 against him. So he has been a lot more reliable recently in the Astros, especially with the Lance McCullers going on the IL. And the good news is we have Jose Urquidy coming back. Christian Javier has been moved to the bullpen, and he looked pretty good. And you need a guy like that kind of to eat up the innings when your starter can only go 4. So I think you'll see some other moves going on pretty soon. But I know that Brandon Bielak was sent down to AAA. And so that's basically that was basically a move that they needed to do. They needed a fresh arm just to kind of get somebody else up here, and that they're hoping. James Click said that they're hoping to get Blake Taylor back sometime during the Red Sox series, and he has to throw a multi-inning stint at Sugarland before. And Lance McCullers he threw today, so they don't know what his next step is. So. They're waiting for that, but Jose Urquidy is very excited. He's very healthy right now. He's very anxious to do his best and help the team win tomorrow. So this is a guy the Astros desperately need to return back to the rotation. But as World Traveler said earlier, the pitching staff, the starters have not been an issue. It's really has been on the bullpen. Yes, you would like to see some of the starters go deeper in the game, and that's why I was like, let's have Greinke just pitch 100 million pitches today, just because I do not want to see Andre Scrub in the bullpen. But
Eric, what do you think about that? 104 pitches. I mean,
I think Baker did the right thing.
Okay, I just did because I missed the 8th inning that he pitched. I was out dropping my son off at a birthday party today. What was that 8th inning like? Did he throw a lot of pitches in that 8th inning?
I don't remember exactly. I want to say he had the double play. I remember in the 8th inning, I think he had a couple runners on, and I think he had the double play. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but
did you know that 69 of his pitches were strikes?
Yes. So I'm trying to look at that. So in the 8th inning, let me see, where is it? Top of the 8th. He had, it was a 1, 2, 3 inning. So
okay,
so it was not a lot of traffic. So
So it was just more of a pitch count thing. What I'm saying is I thought maybe he threw an exorbitant amount of pitches in the 8th inning, and that's why they took him out. So.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're going to have to start wrapping up for the preview for the Red Sox series. So, guys, come back, stick around. Gabby Starr of the Locked On Red Sox podcast will be joining us. And don't forget to always join us for the Locked On Astros podcast. And don't forget to subscribe. And we'll be back tomorrow for the Locked On Astros podcast. And go Stros. Hopefully, the Red Sox are not your 2020 Red Sox. They are actually a good team this year, and hopefully the Astros will play a lot better. And when I say the Astros, I mean the Astros bullpen. So we'll be watching that a lot. Brett and I are going to the game tomorrow. I think World Traveler, you're going to the game tomorrow. So stick around. We'll be back with the Locked On Astros, Locked On Red Sox preview coming up next.